I'm afraid there comes a time in every man's life when he must let go.
Let go of what, Robert?
Everything.
Dear?
All I ask of you is to remember me and our happy times. You must plow on. Oh dear.
Dear?
I have lived long and fruitful life, but now I must leave. Boys, keep your mother happy. You hear? Go on, and remember all that I've taught you. I'll watch from above and see that my cotton's in to serve millions of souls.
I always wondered what lay beyond this earth. Now we shall see.
I think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Hello? Anybody there? What in heaven's name is this place?
Interesting you should say that. Hi, my name is St. Peter, and don't worry, you're in a better place for now.
What do you mean?
Well, now I have to interview you to see if you can stay here or if I have to kick you out. Please, sit. Let's start with your name and where you're from, though.
I'm Robert Fulton. I was born in 1765 in Pennsylvania, and I left my brother and 3 sisters to go to Philadelphia.
I see. What did you do there?
I met revolutionary figures such as Benjamin Franklin. He really inspired me to do something with my life. And I got an obsession of waterway control, such as dredging and canals and just dynamics of water, because the Northeast is pretty heavy on ports and shipping and whatnot.
I take it you didn't stay there forever.
Right. A man named Benjamin West, a painter who documented the independence cause, took me in as an apprentice for several years, providing me with an eye for spatial awareness, 3-dimensional design, and so on. I took these skills and spliced it with a focus on military innovation, an interest in dynamics of water, such as dredging, canals, and so on. Then I traveled to Paris at the age of 32 to further my studies.
Paris? Huh. I hear there's a lot of stuff to do there. Prostitutes, gambling, crime syndication?
Not exactly. I only had time to study because I cared too much about my education. I began to design primitive versions of torpedoes and submarines, and met other people interested in the practical use of steamboats. Rumsey, an American inventor who pioneered the first theory for steamboats, Symington, who created the first successful steam tug, Fitch, who initiated the first successful trial run of the steamboat and gained a patent, and Geoffroy, who made a working paddle steamer in 1783.
Just stole their ideas, or were you the only one who was internationally credited with them?
I'd like to say that I drew from each of these advancements. Anywho, I designed the first working submarine called the Nautilus from 1793 to 1797. This thing was a 6.5-meter long breakthrough vessel that was made from copper sheets over iron ribs, driven by a hand-cranked screw propeller, steered by horizontal rudder fins, and buoyed by an iron-keeled ballast tank that was flooded and emptied to control level flotation. It attacked by carrying and releasing large copper cylinders filled with gunpowder that exploded through a gun-lock mechanism upon contact with an enemy's hull. You could say it was the early torpedo. I tested it in the Seine River. It could submerge a remarkable depth of 8 meters for 4.5 hours.
Military purposes, Do you realize what you've caused on the future world?
Well, I was mainly fascinated with the vessel itself, but I just needed it to have some kind of use so that countries could fund me. And they did. I worked for France, then England, then America, but no one kept me for long. New technology is always kind of niche and difficult to implement on an efficient scale. I'm sure someone else later would improve upon my designs.
Now, I've heard you've become famous by Claremont. Would you care to elaborate?
Yes. A decade later, I worked with a nice fellow in New York, Robert Livingston, I think was his name. He was a wealthy investor that funded further research and construction. That allowed me to create the first commercial steamboat called the North River Steamboat, aka the Clermont, in 1807.
What was so special about it?
It was able to carry passengers between Albany and New York City, a lengthy 150-mile trip within 32 hours. It was the first ship to demonstrate the viability of using steam propulsion for commercial river transportation, and distinguished itself from other vessels for turning a hefty profit.
You did all of this just for profit?
Well, that's pretty much the point for most things we do. Besides, I was not doing well financially because other countries kept dropping their support.
Whatever. Did you do anything else?
Well, the last project that I completed was the good old Domologos. It was the world's first steam-driven warship commissioned by Congress in 1814 for the War of 1812. The design was a total innovation. It consisted of 2 parallel hulls with a paddle wheel in between. The submerged engine could go at 5.5 knots. That's not something you can laugh about. Haha, get it? Anyway, the centralized paddle wheel solved several persistent problems with gunships during my time. The double reinforced hulls could protect the paddle wheel, and it allowed the ship to mount a full broadside with guns. In addition, steam power could obviously outpower a crewman in a regular ship, and the double hull structure made the boat inherently lighter, faster, and more stabilized. And I guess I died a few moments ago from tuberculosis.
You are probably unaware of what you just did to the world. The innovation of steam-powered travel would bring an entirely new era of engines, fuel, and globalization of transport and energy. Naval warfare was also accentuated with your little Demologos breakthrough, but seeing as how you were probably not intending that, and it has some major upsides with the advancement of technology, you are only charged with minor plagiarism. Come on in.
Demarius, where are you?
Demarius? What kind of name is that?
That's my wife,
My apologies. I'm St. Peter. And you are?
John Deere.
Nice to meet you, John. Unfortunately, you have died. Just need to answer a few questions, and then I'll be able to let you in.
My hometown was Rutland, Vermont.
What did you do there?
I mostly helped my pop run the family tailor shop by handling the needles and such.
That's it?
Then old Captain Ben Lawrence down in Middlebury took me in as a blacksmith apprentice in the year of 1821. No one else could smith blacks as well as I could. Probably because no one else wanted to learn how to. A decade later, I'm trying to make a living on a farm in Grand Detour, Illinois, and the stupid plows wouldn't work.
How so?
The iron was too weak to break the tough sticky clay. So then I thought to myself, needles. I polished them needles to cut through leather, so why not polish these here plows? I shaped the mold board and polished the steel to manufacture a cast steel plow in 1837.
Ah, the plow. You helped thousands of people migrate to the Great Plains in the 19th and 20th centuries. So, what did you do with the original one?
Sold it to my neighbor Lewis Crandall, who told everyone in my town about my amazing new invention. By the 1840s, I was selling 100 plows per year. They were pretty powerful, if you know what I'm saying. I partnered with a man named Andrus. This fellow was way too stubborn about the ways I sold my plow. So then I dissolved his partnership and moved to Moline, Illinois to become closer with the network of transportation across the Mississippi. I had started my own factories and a company called Deere and Company.
Deere and Company? Oh yes, they're huge in the future. 2 centuries later, they have about $40 million in total assets by selling commercial agriculture machinery.
Really? Gosh, that's great news.
Alright, you're good to go.
Well, golly.
Nice to have you here, Eli. So, tell us a bit about yourself.
I for sure, no problem. See, I was born on December 8th, 1765 in Washington, Massachusetts. Represent. I attended Yale University, and I'm the proud inventor of the cotton gin and the interchangeable parts.
Really? That's interesting. Let me ask you something. Why is it called the cotton gin?
Well, it's an abbreviation for cotton engine. I needed a dope abbreviation for a dope invention.
Oh, haha. Well, it's certainly catchier. Now tell me, what was your inspiration for inventing the cotton gin?
I never originally wanted to be an inventor, to be honest. I went to school to be a lawyer, but that obviously didn't work out. But when I noticed that tobacco started to decline, just like my wife, if you know what I mean, I noticed that cotton was a potential gold mine with all of its different uses, but it took so long to pick that it was an impractical plant. So I invented the cotton gin.
Really? Wow. How exactly does it work?
Well, basically it had three parts. There was a hopper to feed the cotton, and the cylinder revolved with the hooks that matched the grooves on the stationary breastwork. Those held seeds in place while fibers moved through it, and the clear bristled cylinder to clean the fiber of the hooks.
That's genius! I have word that before 1840, it allowed more than 500,000 bales of cotton to be produced. Is this true?
I'm right, it was. In fact, it was able to produce more cotton in 1 hour than somebody could in a day. Real talk.
That's fantastic. However, I do also have word that your invention was a contributing factor to the Civil War. Do you have any say in this?
I never really intended it to fuel slavery. I mean, I patented everything and I just wanted to make some quick dough. And then farmers started buying the pirated version and messed up everything.
It's terrible. I'm sorry, Eli, but I am curious. Tell me more about interchangeable parts.
I invented the concept for interchangeable parts due to the potential war with France. It would allow for quality guns to be produced at a much faster rate.
Wow. That's excellent. How exactly does it work?
Basically, it's when one factory makes one part for a gun, and then other factories make other parts for the gun, and they assemble it together.
Well, I'm certainly glad you didn't become a lawyer, Eli. Actually, wait for a second.
Hey, Peter, it's God. This Eli guy has got to go. I'll be on my way down there.
Whoosh! What in the name of me is going on here?
God?
Indeed, it is I, God. You must go to hell for your sins of causing a war upon your own people.
But I didn't mean it. No, I don't want to go. Please, save me. Somebody, help. No. What is this place? Is this hell? What do I do here?
Now you must annotate for the rest of eternity.
No!